Had a little false start a second ago. Thanks for bearing with me. I forgot that something was visible and it was kind of sensitive in terms of my information. So I've decided to re-record it and delete the old recording. So today's day 12, and you've spent the last 2 days writing or laying out a piece of content. And now that piece of writing either lives on something like medium.com or somewhere else. We have a full list, by the way, just to plug this. After I record these videos, a lot of things, but one of the things that I do is each is its own page. So there's things to do, there's the template I promised, and I don't know why it's not loading. Oh, it just took a second, I guess. So being is that if you need some more information or context, it's typically going to be on the website. So you've taken the time, you've written this Medium article or this Hub Pages article, you posted it somewhere that accepts article submissions, or you laid something out and you put it on your own website. Now what? Well, this is the part that I used to find kind of stupid when I first started doing this for a living. So you are going to spend as much time promoting your content, maybe twice as much time as you did writing it, which I know feels kind of stupid. So let me just give you an example of a piece of content that in my company we produce on a regular basis and how we deal with it. So one of the things that we do is we do workshops. So we're a co-working space. The workshops are streamed live and they're also recorded. And they're also obviously live with people in the room. So we need to promote them. Now, because it's an event, in most events, when you submit them to websites, they make you submit them as what's the event title, what's your event date and all that. We have a spreadsheet where we spread that all out. Obviously, some of these lines are internal use only, like does the person need help setting up, or do they want the room set up a certain way, that kind of thing. And you can ignore, if you're not doing events, you just obviously ignore the event part. But what we have here and what you're going to help kind of produce for yourself today is, okay, once we have this thing, where do we post it? Besides our own Facebook page, besides our own Instagram, besides our own email list, which we'll also talk about today, where else does this go? So first of all, obviously for our events, we have a list of community calendars. Now, this is the main event template. So we're going to promote our in-person events in the state of Maine a little more heavily in Maine, and we're going to promote the ones in New York a little bit more heavily in New York. But basically we have, here's the website link to where we submit, and we literally click it open. And then we have a user, it's like, go here. And then we say exactly, so basically I could hand this to somebody, go do this thing. And we have the instructions right here, how to fill it out. So, and then we have a list. So we have a list of websites that will take our submissions. We have a list of local Facebook groups that we think might be interested in the thing. And then we have special websites that just kind of aggregate, events that we post stuff to. And as we find more, we put more in. We have Meetup, but it's not on here. I'm not quite sure. So then we have a list of people that we email. So local business groups that we think might be interested. And then we have our press list. These are like people, who work, and we keep that up to date as well. So this way, when we've done all the work to organize a workshop, we have also thought through how we're going to put it out there. So basically, what you want to think about, part of your job being an online mainly business at this point, is to let people know what you're doing. Now, it feels really sleazy to just go on a bunch of Facebook pages and okay, so it would feel really gross if I went on these Facebook pages even once a month and said, you should come buy a membership to our co-working space, right? Like that would be obnoxious. But if I was like, oh, we're offering this like $25 workshop with a New York Times bestselling author, like legit happened, that feels less gross. Or even better in your case, I wrote this great article that might help some people. Okay. Now, obviously, this is more of a kind of local concerns kind of thing, this physical event. And your thing is going to be a little bit more probably wide ranging. Okay. So let's pretend that I wrote that article about the badass French Canadian ladies. Okay. So what I want to do is think about, okay, this is the kind of content I'm going to produce, you know, French Canadian related content. Where should I be posting that online? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little searching and I'm going to start compiling this list here. Um, First of all, there are tons of interest groups on most social networks. So, but so let's say, all right, French Canadian ancestry. So something like, right, that I could do is I could join this group, right? And I'm not going to spam, I'm not going to be writing about my product or something every day, but when I have a new article, this might be a place to post it. So what I should do though is I should also do something like read the group rules. So let me go ahead. If you Okay, if you're truly interested in French Canadian ancestry, for those of you who want to invite more than one person to the group, I'm not adding them. Just send them the link to the group. This is a place for people from anywhere to get together and share their thoughts on French Canadian ancestry and genealogical research. No politics or religion, or you will be kicked out. And then it says the whole thing in French. Okay, so I think I could follow that rule. So some groups will say like no solicitation, or they'll say whatever. Now, obviously, posting join my co-working space would be a solicitation, but saying I wrote this free article about how to run a rural co-working space, you know, that would not, right? So this might be a good little group for us to be added to. So I would find probably similar. So I would say, now, if you're more of a spreadsheet person, that's fine. If you're more of a Word document person, that's fine. It doesn't really matter how you organize the information, as long as it's all in one place so that when you do this again, you won't have to do this research again. Okay. All right. So one place obviously is Facebook. Also, LinkedIn has groups, which I think a lot forget about, and people do post to. Now, for my kind of, I don't think a French Canadian group would necessarily be the way to go. But if you have a more businessy type product, there might be better groups in LinkedIn. So, for example, like a lot of people forget, but there's like your alumni group in LinkedIn, So, alumni groups, there's people who all use like the same software in groups together. Like, there's a whole WordPress group or like multiple ones in LinkedIn, that kind of thing. Um, so you want to look for, groups like that are interested in having content. Now, the other thing too is we don't have to stick to social media. I can just see there might be a freestanding French Canadian type group. Um, so I need to put a better thing in here, but it might look like an old school forum. It might look like a Yahoo or a Google group. You just never know where people are going to be active in a particular topic until you start looking for it. The other thing, which I will say you can do, but tread with caution, is leave comments on related blog posts in the field. What you'll notice is if I look up sort of French Canadian culture blogs, what you'll notice if you start researching blogs is that there are a certain amount of them. So, okay, here we're QuebecCultureBlog.com, but about this blog. Wow, okay. So let's go to the homepage of the blog when the blog is back up. Okay. Wow, this is a old blog. Okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is once you start looking at the online community for your particular subject, you're going to see that some blogs are like kind of active and people leave comments and stuff like that. And being a part of that discussion is fine. Now, you don't want to constantly be going to a party and saying, wow, this is a great party. But I have this other great party over here going on at the same time, right? And that's kind of what you're doing. So participate, obviously, in the online community that cares about the same thing that you care about, because they're going to eventually be your customer. But, you know, constantly linking to your blog in these forums is a little bit, it's kind of jerky. So, like I said, do it sparingly. And if it feels like you're doing too much or you're not sure, pull back a little bit. Add to the discussion. And what happens when you leave a blog comment is it'll typically let you put your name, a link back to your website, and then your comment. Okay, whatever you do, don't put a link back to your website and then just say, nice post. Actually add to the discussion, or like say something that you appreciated or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, if you're going to do this, like remember that it's an actual human writing the thing. Another thing you might want to think about is trade organizations that you're a part of, or maybe chambers of commerce, things like that. They're looking for content. They have members. They have to produce and distribute a large amount of content, and ideally useful content. So let's say that I wrote an article, right? I wrote this article about French Canadian ladies, that were awesome. I might look for French Canadian girl organization. There might be some groups that might be interested in what I have to say. France, Canada culture, cultural life. Okay, so I'm thinking of like history center. Oh, there we go. So like, for example, so having the right words is important too. So if you're not finding anything on the words that you're looking, like think about other ways to say it. So here's the Franco-American Center. So if we look here, we see that they do a lot of events and private functions, but let's take a look and see. I bet they've got a Facebook page or something. Really? Oh, I was like, all right. I just want to get an idea of what their content and production schedule is like. Okay, I'm Lewiston, right? And look who's back. So what I might want to do is I might want to have these people know who I am. I'm just looking at their about page, box office. I don't know if box office is who I want to email, but maybe I want to try info@francocenter.org and add them to my list. Having a bad spelling day. Like there might be we might be able to get a better email address on their website too. So, and maybe I also want to take a second to figure out who these people are. Like maybe they're in the organization that I should be talking to. And because people will do this to me all the time. They're like, hello, sir/ma'am. And I'm like, really? You couldn't like spend 15 seconds on my website, like getting mine. So I was looking, I thought the list of like Bob Marley. Okay. I was like, oh, this might be a little list of people. So I'm looking for staff and board of directors. There we go. If you can refer to someone, that's really helpful. Manager. Okay. So I might program director and event manager. I guess that might be my best bet. Richard Martin. Okay. So I might just want to email Richard Martin and say, hey, Richard Martin, I'm Nicole. I'm in the process of starting this business, but that's not important right now. I wrote this article, which I thought, and I'm going to be, making stuff like this a lot. I want to let you know, here's the link to the article. I'm not sure if this is something that your audience would be interested in, but, anything to promote the French Canadians is something that I'm into. Now Richard Martin knows who I am. He knows about my business, but he knows that the thing that I'm giving him is this free thing and I'm going to make other things like it. And he just knows who I am. If he wants to post it to his Facebook page, great. If he wants to put it linked to the his email newsletter he sends out to as the organization, great. If he says, "Oh, I really like this content and I want to put it on our website, can I talk to you about that and maybe paying you for that?" That's also great, right? So you see here, like the last kind of, I don't know, 4 days, it's really easy to keep working on this stuff in isolation, okay? And to not tell anyone and to, wait for it to be perfect. But like part of getting out there is getting out there before you feel ready. And that's where this comes in. So what I want you to do today is start working on your equivalent of this spreadsheet or the list that I started. And think about the people who, like, you wrote this free article, and I want you to shoot for 20 places. These could be, like I said, organizations, people to email at a certain organization. This could be groups. There's also, like I said, there's pretty active online communities about all these things. This could be blogs that are in the space. Again, like especially with bloggers, they've spent a lot of time producing free content themselves. It's kind of like if you were a Star Circus performer and someone took one juggling class and like walked up to you and was like, "Hey, I can juggle." Um, you'd be slightly annoyed. So whatever you do, just like I said, treat the blog with be a part of the community, be respectful of the community they're building, because what you want to do is build a friendship with these people. And if you're too transactional right away, it's not going to work. So I want you to come up with 20 places that you can post your thing. And like I said, read the terms on the Facebook groups or the LinkedIn groups. Take some time if you find a website to get some contact information or some context. Mostly, people do mostly events. I'm going to write check Facebook and Twitter if they actually post cultural content. They might not. Like, I might just go look at their Facebook and Twitter and just be like, oh, they only promote events. So that would, in this case, that email would not be a good email to send. So part of online is you find a lot of stuff that isn't really applicable, but you can keep notes anyway. So if I say this is 20 places and make a little no, but good to know kind of category, I might be like, you know what, like this isn't useful for me right now, but I'm just kind of gonna put a little pin in it. It might be useful at another point. I'll be happy to, so keep track of even your stuff that doesn't really pan out because you might use it somewhere else. Now, the final thing, so you've sent 30 emails to people and you have posted to your Facebook and whatever before. So hopefully people are starting to follow you. Now, let's take a look and see. Now, I haven't promoted this at all. Honestly, you guys, the 2020 is like a legit part-time job right now. So I haven't actually done the homework I said I would do. So I have 5 contacts. So what I want to do, and hopefully you have some too, maybe you just have like 10 people on your email list. What you want to do is if you have some number of people that have signed up to your MailChimp, and when you log into MailChimp, it'll tell you, it'll say, oh, your audience has this many people in it. What I want you to do is go through the process of creating an email marketing campaign about that piece of material that you just wrote or about your business in general. So post your new blog or a link to where people can get your ebook onto Facebook and Instagram. Send out this MailChimp email. And honestly, guys, it's super straightforward if you've never done it before. You're going to open this up. You're going to click on email. You're going to type in a campaign name. And you're just going to follow the steps that it tells you to do. What it's going to do is it's going to give these little green checks as you're done step. So who is sending this campaign? It's from Nicole. Go. Green check mark. You don't have to put princess to get the check mark. Got a subject line. I'm going to do the content. And then what I will say is at the end, what I like to do, oh, right, they moved the send button. So when all these boxes are checked off, in this upper right corner, you see schedule and send, which are currently grayed out because I haven't done them all yet. What I firmly suggest you do is schedule the email for like 2 hours later than you think you're ready to send. Because what's going to happen if you're anything like me is you're going to be sitting eating lunch like an hour later and be like, oh, I really wish I would have put that in. So by scheduling it, that gives you enough time to have that, oh crap, thought and be able to do it. So um, those are your assignments. I get this might take a little bit. So posting to Facebook, posting to Instagram, that should take you all of a minute, hopefully. Sending this campaign, hopefully will be pretty quick because you have a bit of a layout going in MailChimp already. You've got your assets loaded in there, like your logo and stuff from when you made your landing page. And then you're gonna, like I said, this thing you're building is gonna be usable by you in the future when you have pieces of content to promote, because that's part of the online world, guys. All right, thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck figuring out your flow for where you're gonna post stuff as you produce it. It's important. It is research heavy, but I know you can do it. All right, talk to you tomorrow.